Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Jackie Baillie has now called on Michael Matheson to resign. She's attacked him both for his personal life and his record as Health Secretary, and says that one has distracted him from the other, that he's incapable of delivering on the role. He says he cannot fulfil what he's supposed to be doing because he's too distracted by what's going on with all his many problems in his life, and that he should, for the sake of the nation, stand down and let someone else have a go before it is beyond repair. I personally think it's already beyond repair. I don't think the SNP are capable of fixing the NHS because they're not really interested in it. They're more interested in independence rather than fulfilling any kind of manifesto promise. But he is undoubtedly a man that cannot do the job. It is quite beyond him. And that is, even if he wasn't sort of distracted, if he wasn't looking at all the problems in his life, he wouldn't be able to do this job. But unfortunately, he's not even attempting to do it. And I agree with Jackie Baillie. So let's have a look, see what's going on, and see why Matheson really must go now before it's too late. Here goes. So, Michael Matheson, distracted, as they put it, by iPad scandal in December, just as the NHS was at crisis point. And of course the figures have been revealed and showing that yes, yet again, waiting lists were longer, the delays to operations were longer, more people were waiting than ever. And cancer rates in particular, we did the story the other day, the cancer rates in particular are extending and the waits are waiting even longer. All under the SNP and particularly under Michael Matheson, a man who's too busy thinking and worrying about his, his self-pleasuring bill while sitting in the Moroccan hotel room. The kids are down, the wife are down by the pool. He draws the curtains and he has the iPad in his left hand. He's not, of course, handing it over. He claims it's football, but he won't hand it over to anyone to be inspected. And at that moment, we know it wasn't football, was it? It was something far worse. Anyway, the Scottish Government's Health Secretary is facing renewed calls for him to resign as he was distracted by the fallout of his iPad data roaming scandal while the NHS plunged into December crisis. And it's going to get worse because effectively you haven't got a Minister for Health. You've got a man hiding in his office, deeply, deeply worried about his job and his future. There's no, how can we put it? There's no one at the helm that is involved in the day-to-day affairs of health in Scotland. There's a guy that comes out and will make a statement once every few weeks to announce what the latest catastrophe is, but he's not doing anything at all to sort it out. Anyway, the NHS in December hit crisis point in Scotland as Health Secretary Michael Matheson scrambled to save his ministerial job. New figures revealed that the A&E performance plummeted to its second lowest point on record, and delayed discharges hit its highest level in over a year, ever since he took over. And all because the man is frit. He doesn't want the iPod exposed. He doesn't want what's on there to be made public because he knows it's degenerate filth. And yet he's totally incapable of doing his job because of this fear. Also the fact that he's got to find £11,000 that he tried to defraud from the taxpayer. Refreshed calls have been made for the SNP minister to finally quit his role after months of being distracted by his iPad data roaming scandal. In November it was revealed he racked up a huge £11,000 data roaming bill on a festive holiday at the end of 2022. And that is when he blamed his children because he won't take control and, blame himself. He daren't sort of take responsibility and step up. So he throws his children under the bus and then says it was only football. Well, now he's out and said it's only football. He's got nothing to fear. Hand it over. Let's just see that it was indeed that football. But he won't. And therefore we know it wasn't. So he has that. There's also the sideline scandal that if he did take it abroad to a country not deemed safe, it said, by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, with any kind of sensitive information on it. Why does he let his children have this iPad? It seems very, very dodgy. So there's a potentiality there of breach of the Official Secrets Act. That must also, I think, be investigated. I think the security services need to be involved. The man must go. He's an absolute danger to people. Anyway, he reclaimed the sum, this 11,000, on expenses, but was later forced to pay this back to the public purse after blaming his teenage sons for using the data to watch Scottish football, apparently without his knowledge. BS, because if the kids have just got into his iPad, then that is a breach of security. Or if he set up a hotspot, then it must have been with his knowledge. So again, more lies to cover up. He cannot help himself, can he? December last year, he was dealing with the fallout from the scandal, and as he did so, the NHS he is tasked with overseeing plunged into crisis, with an almost record number of people waiting more than 4 hours to be seen in A&E, and over the course of the month, only 65.6% of patients were seen and admitted, transferred or discharged within that target time, with a staggering 15,000 people waiting more than 8 hours, and 6,467 people stuck for more than half a day. And when you're ill and needing attention, that is horrific, isn't it? In addition, delayed discharge remains high, despite the long-standing SNP promise to eradicate this in Scotland. Well, they can promise it, but they can't deliver it, not when they're spending money on foreign embassies and things, rather than looking after social care. Social care and, the social health is just as important as hospital health, hospitalisations and medical care. And yet nobody wants to address it. It's the unloved distant aunt who you only get a card from at Christmas, isn't it? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about these people at all. Operations also continue to lag well below pre-pandemic levels, with almost 20% fewer operations planned in December 23 than 4 years earlier in December 19. Reading is hard. I do apologise. Over the course of last year, almost 60,000 fewer operations were performed compared to 2019. And that's not just look at the numbers. Let's not say, 60,000 operations. Let's look, that's 60,000 people being let down, living often in pain or impediment, sometimes tied, they cannot move, they cannot sort of go and live a full life, simply because the SNP cannot be bothered to care, cannot be bothered to do these things. People are dying on these lists, and the SNP, they know it, but they don't care. For them, people dying is the price worth paying. Anyway, hospitals are still struggling to cope, with 515 operations being cancelled at short notice for capacity or other non-clinical reasons in December 23. Opposition parties are calling for the disgraced Health Secretary to quit. Scottish Labour health spokeswoman Jackie Baillie said, "While Michael Matheson was distracted by his own scandals, our NHS was at crisis point. The chaos in our overstretched A&E has left thousands of patients stranded for hours on end and put lives at risk. The Health Secretary has been missing in action, while patients and staff are forced to deal with the mess his government have created. Scotland," she says, "deserves better. Matheson must go, and the SNP must deal with this chaos by improving social care, supporting NHS staff, and delivering a real catch-up plan. While they're wasting millions on foreign embassies, that's never going to happen. And while he is distracted over his, tossing charges, that isn't going to happen either, because the man cannot do the job." The thing is, though, even if he hadn't got this iPad scandal hanging over him, I don't think he's up to the job. I don't think this man has got a grip on the problem. And that, sadly, means people suffer. I'm coming up. There must come a point where even someone as stupid as Humza Yousaf must realise that Matheson's time has come, and he can just boot him out and say, "Thanks, Michael, but you've made an absolute mess of it. We need to get someone else in, and you need to go and sort out your problems." It's what the public want, and it's what actually needs to happen. But of course Humza won't do that, because changing him would show that Humza appointed the wrong person in the first place, and would make him look like, having got something wrong, he'd look foolish in his mind. It's already far too late for that, I suppose. But he does have the perfect opportunity. he can now move Michael Matheson. He can have a whole complete change of cabinet. And that's due to, of course, Elena Whittam. And we're going to be doing that story shortly. But with what's happening with her, it gives Humza an opportunity to get rid of Michael Matheson. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.